Hi, welcome back, students. This is Mr. Clement. We are in computer applications, and we are going to take a look at the topic called MLA reports. This is meant for modern language association style of reports. This is what your English staff is going to ask of you when you do your research papers. So there's a certain way these papers should be written. My job is to help you with the formatting part of things, to make it look right so you don't lose those points. My job is not necessarily to worry about sentence structure, grammar, things of that nature, right? That's your English teacher's job. My job is to make the document look the way it's supposed to look. So we're going to start here. With our MLA report, we'll get the setup for the document, whether that be on Microsoft Word or Google Docs. We'll talk about what is supposed to be in the header. We'll talk about the heading, title of the report. We'll look at the body of the report, and then we'll look at works cited, or also called a bibliography. So first part we'll talk about is going to be the setup. Every MLA report should start with 12-point font, and I choose Times New Roman. An Arial or some other kind of a standard type font is probably fine. I just default to Times New Roman because I like that look. MLA reports are not supposed to be in some kind of a goofy, scripty kind of font. Okay. When you look at your spacing, it should be 0.0 point double, meaning it should be no extra spaces in between, and we'll show you how to do that now. So I'm going to open up a clean new Microsoft Word document. Your version of Microsoft Word may be slightly different from my version of Microsoft Word, but for the most part, they will be very, very similar. I'm going to open up a blank document here. And as you notice, here is how it will look. We've talked about in previous videos about how to add rulers and some of our tabs across the top. We're just going to concentrate on MLA reports today. So first thing, talking about our setup. Okay. I like to turn the show hide button on here. It's this little backwards looking P paragraph mark, and it lets me know that I've formatted everything. So I'm going to highlight that, and I am going to change it to 12-point font. And I start typing in Times. There's Times New Roman. As I click on my drop-down, my little box right here next to the paragraph in my home main ribbon, I'll notice here in the middle I have a spacing option. Right now, it's 0 point before, but it's giving this 8 point after. So if you notice down here in the preview, it's giving a little bit of extra room after you hit the return mark. We need to set this after to 0. Now I'm going to set my line spacing from multiple, this 1.08, I'm going to set it to double. Now, if yours shows up as a 0.10 or a 0.12 or 1.5, whatever it is, doesn't matter what it shows up as. We want to set this to 0.0 point double. You're not going to see a ton different here until you actually start typing some information. So let's head back. So we got our document going, 12-point font, Times New Roman, our spacing 0.0 point double. At any point in time, hit pause on the video and go ahead and do this with me. Next part is the header. Now the header is going to have your last name, only your last name, and the page number. It's going to be in the upper right-hand part of every single page, and the idea is when you insert the page number, it'll number it off, page 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So there's a certain way we're going to do that. So we got to get into the header footer. We're going to go to the far right-hand side. We're going to type in our last name, again, capitalizing the first letter of our last name. We'll leave a space, and then we'll insert the page number. So in the Microsoft Word document, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to double click. at the very top part of my page. Notice how a header popped up. You see this little dotted line, and the rest of the body of my report looks just a little different. It looks a lighter shade of, black. It almost looks gray. This clues you in that you're now in the header in the upper right part of your page. Again, I'm going to highlight my little return mark there. Notice that it went back to 11-point font calibrate. I have to manually paint formatting over the top here. I need to change this to 12-point font. I need to change it to Times New Roman so my header matches up with the body of my report. Again, I'm going to look at my paragraph spacing. Here it doesn't really matter because we're only typing in one thing, so whether it be single or double, we're fine as long as it's 0 point. I'm going to tab over twice. It gets me to the right-hand side, and I'm going to type in my last name. I'm going to hit a space, and now I am going to insert, and in my ribbon, on the insert ribbon, about 2/3 of the way over, I'm going to find an option here that says page number. I'm going to click my drop down, and I have lots of options to insert a page number. The easiest one, in my opinion, is just to go to current position because I'm already where I want it, right? And all I want is just a plain old number. So you notice that it now says Clemens space 1. Again, I'm still in my header because the bottom of my document here is a little bit off color. When I double click and go back into the body of my document, you notice that this goes to like a lighter gray and this goes to black. Now I'm just going to hit some return marks and get me to my second page to show you what that looks like. It automatically changes my page number to 2, as opposed to saying Clemens 1 on every single page that I type in a 10-page paper. So I started my document. I've formatted 12-point font Times New Roman. I got double space in the body of my report. I've got an into the header. I've put in my last name, and I've inserted a page number, and I've done it on the right-hand side of my paper. Next up, I have the heading. The heading and the header are different. The heading is how every MLA report is started, and the information goes in this order. Student name, teacher name, what course are you creating the paper for, and the date. Okay, the heading information is going to be left aligned, and we'll get to the title of the paper here in just a second. So I'm going to write this for Ms. Georges. So my name is Brian Clemens. I hit enter. I got my double space. Ms. Georges. Now, if you are writing it to Ms. Georges, you're not going to write it to Ashley Georges. You're going to write it to Ms. Georges. If you're going to write it to Mr. Johnson, it would be Mr. Johnson. If you are not sure whether Ms. Georges is married or not, you want to go with an MS, period, right? The plural or the married version of that is Mrs., capital MRS, right? Rather than getting into a situation where you're not sure whether the female is married or not, just capital MS is plenty good and fine. Course is English 9A. And now my date is formatted in a particular way. It is the number. Today is the 21st, comma, August, comma, 2020. Now I got the title of my report. And the title of my report is going to be The History of Dan Gable. Personally, I like to type in the title, hit the enter, get to my first paragraph, then come backwards here and do my formatting. The title of my paper is going to be centered, but that is it, okay? It's still going to be 12-point font. It's not going to be bolded. It's not going to be underlined. when you write a paper like this, we don't need those things, right? It would be marked wrong if we do those things. So type in the title, hit enter, get ready for your first body of your report, your first paragraph, then go backwards and change your formatting, right? Change it to center. It's not bolded. It is not underlined. It is not a bigger style font. There are no extra returns, right? This is why I like the show hide button, because here it may be difficult to see, but any of the English teachers who've looked at hundreds of these, Mr. Schlegel and I, who have looked at hundreds of these, we can easily see you got one too many return marks here, right? Just by looking at these. You turn the show hide button on, it's going to show you, yep, I got an extra return mark in there. I need to get rid of that. From here, I start with the body of my report. Again, everything is on the left-hand side. I hit tab, indent it a ½ inch. This is the start of my report. These are the basics for a MLA report in Microsoft Word.